So, Mark, I hear you say, what are we doing today? Well, we're back on with my crusty old Honda. So, not really my kind of bike anymore. Those days have gone. I'd like to move it on, but I want it to be able to start reliably. That's quite important. It adds value to the bike, and it just means I feel achieved. Okay. So I had the timing light on it. Timing looks to be good, but what I did find is that the coil is intermittent on one side. That's really weird because from what I can remember, it's a single coil wasted spark. But I was getting a spark on one side, not the other. No, it can't be. Anyway, we'll look at that in a minute. So I've replaced the spark plugs, I've replaced the condenser caps, I have replaced the spark plugs. I have replaced the spark plug caps for the correct ones because the other ones had the leads all bent up. I've replaced the condenser. It's now time to replace the coils. The points work perfectly. I've got no problem with the points, so I haven't replaced them. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time doing whatever this requires to get it fired up. So that's the job for today. When I've had my broom. Let's get cracked into it. Right, that's the fuel pipes off. Petrol tanks off. Just move that well out of the way. I don't want any risk of explosion or anything. Okay, so there are two coils. I was talking crap. I thought there would be because the spark timing is different. So it's not probably wasted spark. Yeah, not too complex, does it? Got a couple of cable ties I need to be mindful of. Those electrical connections virtually fall apart. I'm not overly happy with them either. Right. So I think we're there. What we're looking at, 210 mils. So you can see the new condenser. The ignition coils are held on with a couple of screws. I'm going to try and undo those screws rather than unbolt the whole thing. See how that goes. So let me set you up. Giving it a little bit of an impact there. That's better, you can see what I'm doing now. That's quite a bit tighter. You might just be able to see that there's some obvious corrosion. Let's get that one done. Right. So that's the first coil off, and I think before we put that back on, we'll give this aluminium bracket a bit of a clean up and try and let's get into there. So the coil sat on these two pads and that's all pretty corroded. So we'll just give that a bit of a clean up. Hopefully that'll improve it. So let's go and have a look at our coils. So this is a coil I've just removed, and although it's a Honda part, it's made by a company called TEC. It might actually be TEK. TEC, I think it is. The nice thing is the replacement coils I've bought are also TEC. And when I look at the wiring, how it comes out of the coil, I don't think there's a left and a right-handed one as such. I think you just have to use what you've got. Right, let's go put these on. So as I said, before we put the coil back on, we'll just clean this up. Lovely. It's going to be awkward to get these screws in because of the ignition lead. It's not particularly well thought out. So I think what we'll do is we'll get that screw in first. It's almost impossible actually. And if that cover comes off, it does. Ah, come on. Really? That's solid plastic as well. Right. Can I mount them upside down? Huh. Yes, I can. But that doesn't seem to want to go in because of the horn bracket now. So if I take the horn bracket out, grind a bit off, then that can at least go underslung, or can it? Oh, straight in the old oil tub. Nice. If you're wondering why I've got an empty oil tub under the bike, it's just as I'm doing the ignition timing, I've got to cover off, and that gives me just a little bit of extra protection, just in case oil starts dripping down. Because obviously the last thing I want is oil all over my floor. Not quite sure how I'm meant to get screwed right. Let's extend the screwdriver. So, super long screwdriver now. Probably too long. But, just long enough I can spin the T-bar, and that's really what it's about. That door's annoying me. Because you can't get on it straight, I've rounded the screw. Right, I don't think I can lift the coils out unless I take the coils off the carrier, so I've got to go down this method. I might just have one screw holding the coil on for a little while. Oh no. Perseverance, Mark, perseverance. TC, this is fucking stupid. Get your act together. Just remake what you've already made 20 years ago. Ugh. Right. So, I need to take the nipple off the plug. What that wire's for. Right, so even though we've got masses of ignition lead here, just tuck that in there for the moment. We are good on this side. Let's go and have a look and see what we have to do to get the other one done. So I think that's got it. So we've got our new coils hooked up. I think I've got the wiring right, and we're just going to see if we get a spark. I think our jumper battery is probably a little bit tired. No, I haven't put the terminal on. That might help us a little bit more. Let's see how that goes. I'm getting still no spark. What about the other side? Right, looks like I'm getting a very small spark. I've got to ask myself, have I got this wired up properly? No. That might be the problem. So that needs to go into there. It's very tight. Let's take this back a bit. And that one, obviously that is Good, needs to go like that. Right, so I'm getting a fairly yellowish spark off of this. Can you see that? I would not want to put my tongue across it. I think it's sufficient. So we tidy up the electrics. We make good any uninsulated bits, which I can see might be a problem. And then we put the tank back on and see if we can get it to fire up. Easy peasy. I'm just trimming down the HT lead. Because it was like miles long and really didn't need it to be as long as it was. So on top of the actual plug lead is a loose sheathing of PVA, PVC, whatever it is. It needs to be trimmed back to length. So I can get all the spark plug cap rubbers back on and make sure it's watertight. This is the old style of plug lead where you've got a copper centre and in the end of the spark plug cap is like a self-tapping screw thread that allows me to push that all the way into the core. There you go. Now, I've got these two wires that need to plug into this. But they're very loose. So I'm just going to slightly, when I find where I've put my pliers, slightly crush the tube up a little bit. Okay, going to hunt for the pliers now. Right, so let's have a proper look at this. I don't want to overdo it. Let's have a look at that. That's a lot better. Both of those are good. That's all wiring neatly out of the way. Big cable tie just to keep all that in, I think. Maybe not. Let's get the other side done. The other side spark plug. Right. So that's our spark plugs connected back up. So I think for now I'm just going to chuck the tank on, give it some gas and see if we can get it to cough into life. I'm sure the carburetors need setting up. So I think whilst I do the tank, I'll just disconnect the lead It's not very well insulated, so I'd rather not have that stuck up in the air. Sorry guys, you don't see mine, but I'm sure. So pipes on. Fuel on, choke on. Let's bring you around here. There you go. Right, so clipped onto the bike. Oops. Clipped onto our big battery. Ignition. Well, I can smell petrol. So I don't think fuel is our problem. Of course, that could just be leaking through the fuel lines. Doesn't look to be leaking anyway. Right, let's try again. So lackluster. There's just no effort or energy in the thing. I wonder if this battery's low. Do have a good collection of big batteries. I don't know if this has got much juice in. It's been on charge a while. It might be damaged. Let's have a look and see how that goes. Take the choke off. Put the choke off way on perhaps. Okay, so one of the things it might be is I might have got the wires around the wrong way. So we'll disconnect the battery again, take the tank off, swap them over, see if that makes any difference. I'm not going to bother putting the tank on just for the moment. There will be enough fuel in those carburetors, I'm sure, and we should find quite a difference. Let's see how that goes. Well, there you go. I think that proves the point. Might have only fired on one carburetor, but it fired. And that's because I've got the plug wires around the wrong way. Well, that's a bit more successful. Doesn't normally start that easy, but literally once that was put right, that fired straight up. I am feeling a little bit more confident, but we're getting somewhere. So much so, I'm going to put the tank back on and put the gas pipes on properly because I'm sick of it leaking. Right, let's go again. I'll put a bit of choke on, let's take it off. Okay, so the bike will fire. It doesn't like choke. So I'm guessing a carburettor issue. So I think what we'll do, I'm going to have a brew. We'll get it fired up, we'll get it warmed up a little bit. See if we can get it to tick over. And then start to have a look at mixture. But I think that's considerably better than it was. I'm really, really happy for that. Okay.